So we're back at it at the Rachel Williams Foundation Freedom Classic with my good friend, Coach LaMonte Stone, coach on every level, championship coach, and he's here to share. Coach Stone, we're here at the Rachel Williams Foundation event, and we're having these big games with all these top high school teams, and we know the next level is college for a lot of these players.
Yes.
And just as we were watching the last game, it came across the feed that Michigan State lost to University of Michigan. Michigan State was at home, 10-point loss, and people can say that Michigan State has kind of been having some issues, and we don't want that to overshadow the great work Coach Beeline is doing with Michigan. Right. So just give me your perspective as a former college coach, what Michigan may have gone through coming into a hostile environment with a top-ranked team like that, and then you can follow up talking about what Michigan State's experience may be.
Well, I've coached against both of those guys, had the game plan against both of those guys when I was at Ohio State coaching against Michigan and Michigan State. They're both in different scenarios right now.
Right.
Michigan State being a top 5 ranked team all year,
where
Michigan's been on the bubble, a top 25 team. But I can tell you one thing, since the last couple of years, since I've been out of the collegiate ranks, I've been to Michigan and Michigan State's practice. I go to Michigan's practice at the start of every year and just think this team is horrible. I just think there's no way Beeline can win with this team.
Right.
And by this time of the year, he's winning.
He's winning.
I mean, I just think he does an unbelievable job with the kids that he wants to recruit and the kids he wants to coach.
Okay,
No,
I'm just thinking about that. Like, how does a coach go from preseason, the team not looking like they can do anything, but then at this part of the season knock off one of the top teams in the country?
Because he understands who he is as a coach.
Okay.
He understands the type of kids that he wants to coach.
Okay.
And he gets the best out of those kids because it's a great marriage there.
It's a great marriage. Good. So tell me what's going on first in the University of Michigan locker room, and then tell me what's going on in the Michigan State locker room after a game like this.
Well, I love Tom Izzo. I think he's one of the, he's of course a Hall of Fame coach. And I preface this, I think they're a Final Four team.
Okay.
Regardless of what's going on right now.
Okay.
He's a good enough coach. He has a good enough team. He's been in these situations and this time of the year numerous times.
Right.
So he'll figure it out.
Right.
Whatever's going on there, he'll figure it out. And eventually that team will get to the Final Four.
So there's no need to be totally alarmed. It's unfortunate, but they're still doing it.
I think what happens with a Tom Izzo team, Coach Izzo coaches hard.
Right.
And this is mid-January. The guy's been going at it since October. So now you get to the point where things are starting to get a little dull.
Oh, okay.
In the locker room, on the floor for practice.
Right.
Sometimes you may need to get yourself up a little bit more for the games because it's January. And
so you're saying it's not really fair to expect the team to continue to dominate throughout the entire season.
No.
Night in and night out.
No, in college basketball, you don't see undefeated teams anymore.
That's true.
Even if you look at the NBA, you see what Cleveland's going through.
That's true. That's true. That's a very good point.
Golden State goes through it, maybe not to the extent that
no
some
one's
of the
writing Cleveland off from not winning the Eastern Conference Finals.
And it's the same thing. If you think about those pros that are going through it, so now you got 18 to 23, 22, 23-year-old guys.
That's
they're experiencing the same thing. It's probably magnitude, because they don't have the experience of year after year after year
being able
to go through.
So let me ask you this: what do you think that does for the quote unquote draft stock for some of the top players at schools like Michigan State to go through?
Well,
does it impact it at all?
Well, with Miles, talk about Miles Bridges. I'm on the philosophy of what's going on with the NBA and collegiate basketball right now. If someone's saying you're a lottery pick, a top lottery pick, maybe 1 through 10, 1 through 7, 10 range, I think you got to go.
You got to go.
You got to go. Because what happens is if you come, let's take Miles, for example. Miles probably would have went anywhere from 5 to 10 in last year's draft. He comes back this year, and he's not having the year that everyone expects him to have. But what happens with a kid like Miles, we have more tape on him. Particularly once he gets in the Big Ten. Because now the coaches in the Big Ten understands what Izzo's trying to do with Miles.
So they've been around.
They saw it last year. They know the sets that coach likes to run. So his sophomore year is going to be a little more challenging than the freshman year. Then Michigan State's a better team this year than they were last year. He has more players. I mean, the Jackson kid Jaren's probably a top 5 pick.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you take those dynamics, and that's why I tell kids, if someone's gonna say, "Hey, I'm gonna draft you number 4 or number 5," I think you gotta go.
And see, and I think what happens with that is we get the emotional part where people say, "No, I want to stay." And I'm not saying this for Miles one way or the other, but I think they're missing your point that once you get that draft status, you can only go down. You can't really go up.
Yeah. What happens is now, me as a scout, I have more time to nitpick you. I have more time to look at your flaws. And so you're only going to go down. I mean, very seldom does a guy go up after coming back.
And then you talk about a top 5 lottery pick or whatnot. You still within the same, tax bracket as far as what you're going to get and what they're going to do with you like that. Okay. So going forward, what do you think we can expect to see? What do you think practice is going to be like next for both U of M coming up and for Michigan State after this game?
Just knowing Coach Izzo over the years and how he go about things, do his program. I think he ratchets practices up. I think they get more competitive. He challenged guys to get better, to do the little things.
Right.
Because, guys are still getting their points and getting their rebounds, but it's the little things, the going after the loose balls, diving on the floor, getting that tough 50-50 rebound.
And that's tough if you say that things are dull already, like you said before. The guys are in this mindset. So we got a lot of young coaches who watch and respond to some of the things we post. Not only were you on the NCAA level with Ohio State, but the 2 great state championships with Rouge. What do you say to a younger coach who may be going through the same thing? Not as much notoriety as in Michigan State or whatnot, but a few games they were on the skids, kind of like Cleveland's going through right now. What do you say to a young coach to kind of keep them locked in?
I've been there, and at that time, I challenged the guys. Every drill that we have in practice is we're going to use the score clock. It's either going to be a time drill or it's going to be for points.
Oh, wow.
So we're going to challenge. Everything is a win-loss.
So you're always competing.
And we're always competing. And then if you're doing that in practice, it has to carry over to the games.
So after the big loss, if you will, you get right back at it. You get
right back at it. You challenge the guys. There's no pity party here.
No pity party.
Michigan State, I ran my high school program sort of like Coach Izzo runs his collegiate program. Every year, they're trying to get to the Final Four.
Right.
Every year, River Rouge High School, we wanted to win a state championship. Right. It was either state championship or bust.
That was it.
That was it. We didn't play for anything else.
Wow.
So those 6 years I was there the first go-around, we won 2. And we won.
That's huge, though, to get 2 out of 6 years.
Yeah, I thought we should have won 3. Shane Battier beat us in the quarterfinal in a close contested game. I thought we had that game. I knew the winner of that game.
Name like Shane Battier. He's kept that going, collegially and in the pros with the championships too. But not that you got to get it. Let me ask you this question: what's more important? What do you think about more, the 2 championships or the 1 loss?
I think that's more important. The 25 plus guys that were able to go play collegiate basketball, further their education through the game of basketball.
That's awesome.
That's why I coach. I talk about the championships and that bring, personal satisfaction.
Right.
But my biggest joy and why I do this is to help young boys become men through the game of basketball.
One thing we were talking about, we were just together a few weeks ago. Shout out to Rodney Hurd. The Rodney Hurd camp in Detroit was a great camp. And we were really talking about where players are in their development. And one thing I've been talking about is your player development leads to your professional development. Because in many times, Coach, the time players spend with their coaches, and in many cases, maybe just as much, if not more, than they are with their parents.
Exactly.
And what I was telling young people is that the way you go through a drill is how you end up being as a professional in life. So talk a little bit more about how important it is for people to kind of follow through and be exact in the work that they're doing.
You talk about some of the things I may talk about to young coaches. If I see a kid, if we're doing sprints or suicides or anything where a kid has to touch the line.
Okay.
I see that kid don't touch the line. I know in the game, I can't count on that kid.
Wow. Say that again, Coach. So let's talk about that. Talk about that a little bit more. Go a little bit.
If we're running a suicide, and that kid has a time, 30 seconds to make that suicide, he may have made the suicide under 30 seconds, but he didn't touch the lines. How can I trust that kid in the game situation? How can I draw up a play and tell that kid, I need you to down screen to get this shooter open? Is he going to cheat my down screen? Is he going to cut it short? Is he not going to set it right?
Well, he's shown that. Well, what about the kid who says, "Oh, Coach, that's just practice, Coach. You know, I'm just, in the game, I'm gonna turn it on. I got you, Coach.
You got to show me in practice. What you're gonna do in the game. I gotta have confidence in you."
So you're saying you have to see it.
I have to see it. If I don't see it in practice, there's no way I'm gonna have confidence that you're gonna do it in the game.
So do you think sometimes, and this is great, when you have a outstanding player, that sometimes coaches may just give them the benefit of the doubt?
I tell the young guys, if you have an outstanding player, you coach that kid harder than you coach any kid on your team.
Really? Why is
but
that?
I had Brent Darby at Rouge High School, wound up going to play for Ohio State. He was, I think, 2-time All Big Ten. I coached him, and I made him coach the other kids.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I coached it got to the point where when I went to Ohio State, he was a senior. During my interviewing process, Coach Jim O'Brien, who wound up hiring me, said, "Hey, I'm bringing you here to coach these guys. I'm not bringing you here to coach Brent Darby." I told Coach, I say, "Coach, Brent Darby don't want me here." Brent Darby looking at me saying, "Oh, shoot.
Yeah, here we go again.
Here we go again."
Yeah, this guy's going to be on me.
This guy's going to be on me. And you know what? And yeah, I coached Brent hard because I had a relationship with him. And that was probably Brent's best year as a senior at Ohio State. But I coached all the kids hard. And you have to coach your best player harder than anyone because he has to set the example.
See, you're touching on something, Coach, because so many times that best player gets that preferential treatment, gets that diva type treatment, and it's kind of like, I don't know, what do you tell a coach to help instill confidence in that coach to go after that guy? If you got an athletic director that may be impartial, you got support from different parts of the community, how do you get a coach up to be able to deal with that?
Well, you gotta a lot of this life is about relationships. So, first of all, you had a relationship with the parents.
Okay.
You got to talk to the parents and have an understanding with the parents that you're coaching out of love.
Right.
You're not coaching to ridicule, this young man. You're not coaching to disrespect him. It's all out of love.
Out of love.
And I think once parents, once associate athletic directors, principals, they understand your philosophy is out of love and it's genuine.
Yeah.
I think everyone buys in.
That helps. Well, good. Well, we're wrapping up probably on the first half of a game. Right now we have, just so people can tune in to where we are right now, who we have playing.
Just had a great girls game with Detroit
game.
Edison and Wayne Memorial.
The defending state champions, Detroit Edison and Wayne Memorial, and now we got Detroit Western and Ann Arbor Huron. Now Detroit Western's a former championship team too. Yeah,
and their coach, similar to my resume, he coached at Eastern Michigan. I think he won a state championship at Redford, or had some Division I guys. Then went to the Division I level at Eastern Michigan, and then came back to high school. I think Coach McDowell does a great job.
He does.
He's an old school coach. Like what we talk about. He coaches hard. Doesn't take any of the new school mess that these kids are try to get. No, it doesn't go.
Well, and his coaching tree is extended to Ken Flowers at my alma mater, Henry Ford. Ken is going on to win the state championship too. Let's talk about that, Coach. What do you think the greater Metro Detroit community is like as it relates to coaching, mentoring, and development?
That's a good point. I just talked to Coach Menifee.
Okay. Yeah.
I was coaching at River Rouge. I think I took that job. I was maybe 25 years old, 26, so really young and naive. But I had guys like Perry Watson. I had guys like Coach Menifee at Cody. I had Ben Kelso at Cody. I had guys that I could pick the phone up.
Yeah.
And I could go to their practice. Let me tell you a story. This is how great those guys treated me. Perry Watson was a great mentor of mine. When I left River Rouge, I was interviewing for the Eastern Michigan job. Okay.
This is after a championship?
This is after I won the state championship at River Rouge. I'm interviewing for the Eastern Michigan assistant coach job. Perry Watson and his staff gets wind that I'm interviewing for the
he's at
University of Detroit. They call me and say, "Hey, come on over here. We're gonna help you with this interviewing process."
Wow.
They gave me mock interviews for a week to prepare me for the Eastern Michigan job. Wow. And really, if I get the Eastern Michigan job, which I eventually did, I'm recruiting against those guys. But it wasn't them looking at me as, recruiting. They understood, hey, this is a young man that we have mentored to this point.
Right.
So why should we stop now?
That's huge. I was going to say it's so easy for people to become territorial. And someone say, why will we help him when we're going to be kind of pulling out the same pot? Now, going back to that relationship, how it developed, does that start with you as a young coach reaching out to these guys, or just hoping that these guys are open enough to reach out to you?
I think it goes both ways.
Okay.
It goes both ways. They looked at me as a coach that, a young guy that was hungry, and not just hungry, but I wanted to learn. I didn't come at the attitude. I think I was 25, 26 years old. I knew I didn't know it.
Right.
I didn't know anything.
Right.
So, but
so
I
you
wanted.
You knew that you didn't know.
I knew that I didn't know.
Right.
But I knew that I wanted to be Perry Watson.
Right.
I wanted to be the high school guy that was successful as a collegiate coach.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So why not learn from the guy who's doing that?
Well, I talk to a lot of coaches, even all over the country, young guys who are transitioning from being players, and I don't want to get back into it. What advice do you have for that young guy or young woman who's thinking about taking the plunge and getting back into coaching and all that comes with it, from the family challenges, being away? Last I heard, they ain't paying coaches too much around these parts anymore. So what advice do you give someone who's on a bubble? And if you can add, what advice can you give to a spouse or a significant other of that individual who's trying to do that?
I'll start there first. I've been married 21 years. I think, personally for me, being a coach, this is the best profession that I possibly could have had for my marriage. Let me tell you what happens in my marriage as a coach, particularly when I was on a collegiate level. I'm gone. I'll give you a week. Say we play on a Wednesday. Say I'm at Ohio State, we're playing Michigan on a Wednesday. We're practicing Sunday. We're practicing Monday. Tuesday, we're getting on the bus.
You gotta go.
And we're going to Ann Arbor. So Tuesday night, I'm gone. Wednesday night, I'm playing, so I'm gone. So my wife sees me on Thursday morning. So it's just enough time where we miss each other, but we're not gone enough where, they forgot about it. We miss each other, so now I'm, she wants to see me, I want to see her.
Sure.
And then we may get on each other's nerves for a couple of days. I'm gone again.
But it's not enough time to take each other for granted.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, how do you, as a coach, being gone, how do you handle that feeling of being away?
Well, when I had kids, once my kids got older, that became a different challenge.
Sure.
So what I would do on the weekends, and I worked for coaches that were great.
Right.
They would go on the trips with me.
Bring the family with you.
Bring the family with you.
And
they were close enough, particularly the bus trips.
Right.
And then when Coach Brown was great, if we had weekend trips at Ohio State and most Big Ten schools, the flights are chartered.
Sure.
So
it's enough room.
It's enough room. It's just the team.
And that's an experience too.
My 20-year-old LaMonte is, he's been to Maui.
Wow.
He's sat in the cockpit of an airplane while the plane is flying because the pilot said, "Hey, come on up here and sit with us."
Oh, wow. What experience.
So there's give and take. It's good and bad in that, but I think the experience of particularly the kids at that age traveling and getting to, sit at a Michigan State and hear the crowd and become entrenched in that or go. I tell you, one of the toughest places to play when I was coaching Ohio State was Illinois.
Really?
They had D. Brown, Luther Head, and Darren Williams as the guards.
Oh, wow. Ooh, that was a tough one.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
And now they kind of switched it up. But they had their the students sitting on the floor seats.
The students sat on the floor seats.
The students sat on the floor seats.
They were right there going
talk about a ruckus crowd.
That was serious.
Oh man,
and that's an old school little arena too.
Now they're kind of updated in the last year or so, but I mean, and I remember the family going on that trip, and my wife just talking about she never want to go back to Illinois.
She never want to go back there
just because the crowd and that experience.
Everything that happened.
But you think of a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old experiencing that, and
that's a life-changing experience. You know, Coach, I've been sitting here today, and we're at the Rachel Williams Foundation Classic, and I'm not coaching anymore. You're not coaching anymore. But why is it that we can be in this environment 12 hours a day, and it seems like it's not an issue?
Because when we were coaching, we were doing it for the love. I always, and you hear it, and my mother and grandparents have always said it. You want to work for a job or for people where it's not a job.
Yeah.
If you're doing what you do for free,
yeah,
that's the most enjoyment of it.
Yeah.
And I'm doing the same things I've been doing the last 25, 30 years. It's just this particular year I'm doing it without getting paid.
Yeah.
But that didn't stop me from sitting in the gyms all day and mentoring young boys to come in and helping kids out and you know, because that's who I am.
Yeah, I agree.
And the dollar amount don't determine who I am.
And in most cases, whatever that dollar amount is not going to be, you know, with a value. Well, I guess that's a good point to make as far as people who are really thinking about, do I want to get involved? The fulfillment it has, and I don't know how it helps you. You can talk about that. How does coaching help you with being mentally relaxed and dealing with stress? Even though it can be stressful, but does it also help you with stress too?
You know what it does for me? It allows me to look in the mirror at myself every morning or when I go to bed at night and say, hey, there's a young man out there that needs you, that needs your help. So you have to be the best you that you can be so you can help that young man become the best young man that he could be.
Oh, that's powerful. That's powerful. Stay inspired. Well, look, we're going to get ready for this halftime to jump off. I want to thank Coach LaMonte Stone to come and spend time with us. He and I got a good thing going on here. We're going to stay on the airwaves with each other, and you're going to have to look for more things coming from Coach as well. Coach, anything you want to share with the viewers before we sign off?
You know, you talked about the jobs and everything, and another thing I tell the young guys, I never took a job worried about how much it paid.
Really?
I went in a couple interviews not even knowing how much the job paid.
Why is that you took that attitude?
Because, and I'm going to tell you, it's a lesson I learned that I kind of learned it accidentally. When I left Ohio State to go to Bowling Green, so you're going from the Big Ten to the Mid-American Conference.
Right.
My salary was cut in half.
Wow.
But you know what? I had more money at Bowling Green than I had at Ohio State.
How's
and I'll
that?
tell you why. Because at Bowling Green, I'm not whining and dining. You know, I don't have my friends coming to Columbus and I got entertained for the weekend or family come and want to go to a game.
That makes sense.
I'm at Bowling Green.
Right.
I'm working. I'm going home.
That's it.
Getting up in the morning, working, going home.
And no extras,
no extra. So it's funny. It hit me after a year or so. Like, wow.
Yeah, it worked out like that.
It works out. But I never looked at the pay because, you know, I'm not in it for the money.
Right.
You know, I'm in it for the benefit of helping kids.
Right.
And so whatever you're going to pay me, it's just a plus.
Right.
You know, it's a benefit.
It adds
to
that.
It's a thank you.
It adds to that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're one of the few people in the world who's found your passion, followed through on your passion, been able to live through that. And I think so many of us wait until it's too late before we decide this is what we want to go for.
Yeah.
What is it, Coach, and we can say this as the final buzzer gets ready to go, what does it take for someone to take that next step in your eyes and say, I want to follow through with this, whether it's them volunteering to start coaching or to do some training? What does it take for someone to take that next step to get the ball rolling?
Networking and building networking and relationship based.
Okay.
Most of my jobs I got because of a relationship that I established probably 10 years before I actually got the job.
Wow. So it doesn't help to go up to somebody and shake their hand and think they're going to help you out tomorrow, huh?
No. You're sowing. I go to church every Sunday, and I understand sowing the seed.
You got to sow the
so
seed.
You got to sow the seed and wait on it to harvest.
Yeah.
And that seed doesn't grow overnight.
And,
you got to
all
water
the
it,
reason why you
massage
got to
it.
be doing something you want to do. Yeah. I mean, everybody come out here with a different game plan and never doing what they want to do and wonders why. You might well be grinding for what you want.
Exactly.
Well, Coach, I want to thank you for having you here. We're going to get back to this game. Again, Coach LaMonte Stone, always a great resource back here in the community. We're at the Rachel Williams Freedom Classic. Come on out. We're going into the half for Detroit Western Ann Arbor. After that, we have Detroit Edison Boys versus De La Salle, Detroit Pershing versus Clarkson, and Renaissance versus Bleacher. So we hope we can see you here at Warren Fitzgerald. And again, Coach Stone, always a pleasure.
Oh, it's great. I love coming on, talking to you guys. We talk great, and it's real.
It's real.
It's a great conversation.
Yeah, and it's gonna help other people. But that's our buzzer. We're gonna go. We want to thank you guys, and we'll see you in a second.
Thank you.